it's encouraging that so many people have been involved in this one element of the council's consultation regarding the medium-term financial plan. Some things have been lost, I'm afraid, and it remains the case that we have to save over £12 million between now and 2020, and there are a great many hugely difficult decisions council will have to take by this summer, not only regarding the library service but also adult services, children's services, some of the most vulnerable people in our society, and street scene, and the grass cutting and the parks and the gardens and the health, the element of the health that the council provides. So the council has some really difficult decisions to take. One element of that, of course, is the library service, and we will consider these responses as we consider all the responses we've received on the website and by letter and card and email, and hopefully come to the best decisions for the town in what are tremendously difficult circumstances.
In terms of the alternative plans that have been produced by Darlington for Culture, can you reassure our readers that they'll be taken seriously, that there may be scope for an extension of time if needed?
Certainly the proposals that the Cabinet have put forward don't lead to the ending of the library service in the town centre, and I'm sorry that I'm conscious myself and what some people have said to me as a result of the publicity that there's been, that somehow there won't be a library in the town centre. That isn't the case. This is about providing not just a service, but hopefully, if the proposal goes ahead, a better service for the library in the town centre if it were to relocate to the Dolphin Centre. We know that usage of Crown Street is falling away, despite the best efforts of very dedicated staff we have in Crown Street. And we know that it's desperately important we get the next generation involved in reading and love of literature and a love of books. And relocation to the Dolphin Centre could achieve that. Also, there would be much longer opening hours, including on a Sunday, if there were to be a relocation. But we've had a number of meetings with Darlington for Culture and people involved with Darlington for Culture, not only about Crown Street, but also about Cockerton Library as well. And again, it's a great shame that there's been people have rather skated over the issue of Cockerton Library, because that is a hugely important branch library that we have there. And we will look very closely at the business case that's put forward to see whether it stacks up or not. I keep an open mind on that. I appreciate the strength of feeling about the building that Crown Street and what that building represents. But first and foremost, my duty as a councillor has to be to the service, to the library service, and ensuring that we're able to provide services across the piece. And I say that includes services for some of the most vulnerable people in our society, as well as universal services like street scene and the bins and what have you, the Dolphin Centre. So we have all of those balls to juggle, but certainly we'll look fairly and transparently at the plans to see whether it is possible to save that £330,000 with the library remaining in Crown Street.
That brings me to something I believe you posted on Facebook, saying if you could find that £330,000 or it magically came in, then you'd be more inclined to put it towards other areas in the community. Do you want to expand on that?
That was a personal view, and I think it's important that councillors, where they can, if you are online as I am, engage honestly with people. And my job as a councillor and as a cabinet member isn't only to be concerned about the library service, however strong. And in other times when we've had other consultations, other single issues have come up, and people feel really strongly about them. And of course I respect that as a local politician, someone who's elected by the people to represent them. But I'm conscious of how, however much as a local authority we're trying to mitigate the worst of these cuts, how services for vulnerable children, children in care, children who are in need of services, who might be experiencing difficult home circumstances, adults in residential care, or who are at home and need extra services, people who maybe are struggling with problems around alcohol or mental health issues, for example. how these budget proposals really, people who are homeless, how these proposals really are not good news for them. And I have to weigh up the impact of a change to the library service, which with the best will in the world is a relocation of a service. It's not about ending a service, it's about relocating a service from one building to another, broadly, compared with changes to adults and children's services that will have a significant and negative impact on some people's lives. So absolutely I stand by that. And it's my job as a cabinet member to look at the impact of the budget over all of the council's areas of operation and not just at one.